Good morning. This is Jim, 5714 Collector. It's Sunday morning. I'm bringing you another video with the 1972 Topps baseball card set. And this morning we're going to do cards number 161 through 187. And it's really not that many cards because there's quite a few in-action cards in this series here today. And I'll just show those cards, of course, also. But got some write-ups on my index cards this morning for all the players. And we're going to start off with number 161, Brock Davis, here with Milwaukee. And here's his card. And we'll show the back, of course, as we go through these. So I'm working my way through the set. And a little bit about Mr. Davis. On September 27th, 1963, Brock was in the lineup of the Houston Colt 45s, and it was an all-rookie lineup. So pretty interesting fact there. He hit one major league home run. That came on June 14th, 1963 against Jack Sanford. And he was a regular center fielder for the Cubs in 1971. So there you go from Mr. Davis. Card number 162 is the Milwaukee Brewers rookie card. Show that. That's pretty cool looking. I like that blue. And the back, we got Jerry Bell, Darrell Porter, and Bullet Bob Reynolds, who pitched for the Orioles for a couple of years in 73, 74, and a little bit of 75. So we'll discuss those guys here. So let's see. Let's talk about them. Jerry Bell, he played 4 years in the majors with the Brewers. He had a 17-11 lifetime record with one save. He was drafted by the Seattle Pilots in the second round of the January 1969 draft. Bob Reynolds also had a nickname Bullet Bob. He pitched 6 years in the majors. He won 14 games and saved 16. He played with the Orioles in 1973 and 74. And he pitched in the American League Championship Series both years. So that's pretty cool. So Darrell Porter had an interesting story. I'm not going to go through all the details here, but I would suggest that you go to Baseball Reference, take a look at them. He had some problems, alcohol and stuff like that. So this being a family channel, we won't talk about his issues and all that. He had a lot of problems, but he played 17 years in the majors. He had 188 lifetime home runs, and he was a 4-time All-Star. And he was the MVP of the National League Championship Series and the World Series in 1982 with St. Louis. But he had some demons. And, yeah, like I said, when you get a chance, go on to baseballreference.com like I did. Take a look, and you'll find some interesting facts about some of these. Some players are a little bit obscure, may not have heard of them, but they all played in the majors, and that's a great accomplishment no matter how we look at it. Card number 163 is the great Tug McGraw. And, of course, he's the father of Tim McGraw, the country and western star. And that's a pretty cool picture here with the amazing, we'll say the amazing Mets if we can, because he pitched for them in 1969, Tug did. And he had a really good career, too. He spent 19 years in the majors. That's pretty awesome. He played with the Mets and the Phillies. He was a 2-time World Series champ in 1969 with the Mets, the Miracle Mets, and the 1980 Phillies. He saved 180 games lifetime and 8 in the postseason. He was the winning pitcher in the 72 All-Star game, and he pitched the final 2 innings, striking out 4 batters. I had to turn it over in the 1980 World Series against the Royals, and he saved games 5 and 6. So pretty interesting. Read about Tug. He had a great career and all that, so it's pretty interesting, that's for sure. So here's his in-action card. These are pretty cool. I love those. Of course, they did the in-action cards in the 71 set, that Dan's Vintage Collector PC showed that, I think, last couple of days. He featured 50 some odd 71 Topps cards and all that. So here Topps did them a separate subset. And of course the 72 set is 787 cards, which is a lot of baseball cards, but it's a lot of fun. So card number 165 is Chris Spire here with the Giants. There's his rookie Gold Cup card. And here's his back. And he had a solid major league career also. Played with a couple teams. He played 19 seasons in the majors. He's a 3-time All-Star. Something interesting, 10 years apart, he hit for the cycle. Interesting. He hit .357 against the Pirates in the National League Championship Series in 1971. So he had a good series. And here's his in-action card. So, yeah. And then on the back of these, they have the American League leading batsmen. So they have some stats for you on the back. So that's pretty awesome. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a good picture and all that. So number 167, as we skip, the cards as we go through the in-action cards. 167 is Darren Johnson. He played 16 seasons in the major leagues. Pretty cool card here with the Phillies. If I remember right, he came up with the Yankees. Had a couple of bats with the Yankees in the, I think the late 50s, very early 60s. If I remember right. So he led the National League in RBIs with 130 in 1965. He finished 4th in MVP voting. He hit 4 consecutive home runs on July 10th and 11th against Milwaukee. And he hit 245 home runs in his career. So he had a nice career and all that. And I know he played, without even looking it back up, I know he played with Oakland 72 or 73 and was on the World Series winning team. So that's pretty cool. So there's his in-action card. And this one is Reading Pitchers National League ERA. So you get that on the back. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, card number 169, the Great Vida Blue. So here's his card here. Here with Oakland. I love those Oakland A's uniforms from those days. That green is pretty cool looking. Gotta give Charlie Finley credit for the colors and all that. But neat to have that hat. I'd like to have that hat there. I'm sure you can probably find one. You can probably get it online. Maybe from the Baseball Hall of Fame, they may have a collection of those type of hats. But that's a pretty sharp one. Of course, most people probably know in 1971, he won MVP and the Cy Young Award. He went 24-8 and had 301 strikeouts and had a fantastic year. He won 209 games lifetime with 2,175 strikeouts. He's another player that had some issues with alcohol and all that. So go on to Baseball Reference, take a look at that. He was a 6-time All-Star. He won 20 games 3 times. He pitched a no-hitter at the age of 21 against the Twins on September 21st, 1970. He's the first pitcher to start an All-Star game in both leagues. So that's pretty cool. So Vida Blue, and again, show my index cards this morning. So have my little sheets because I'm not going to remember all these details. But it's fun. I do a lot of research on this, and I'm enjoying it. So the back of in-action cards, pennant winners in the American League. So that's pretty cool. Okay, card number 171, we got Darrell Evans here with the Braves. And Darrell Evans had a great career. He's one of them guys that really didn't get a lot of Hall of Fame votes, very, very small percentage. But had a keen eye at the plate, well over 1,000 walks in his career, led the league in walks a couple times, 414 home runs lifetime. Should have got more consideration for the Hall of Fame, but he did not. And we'll show his in-action card here in a minute. So, 1,605 walks a lifetime. I'm going to have to look it up and see where he is on the list, because he's got to be in the top 20 probably. Got to be. We'll check that out. Played 21 years. Like I said, he had 414 lifetime home runs. In 1973, Darrell Evans, Davey Johnson, and Hank Aaron each hit 40 home runs or more. They were the first trio of hitters to do that with Atlanta. So that's pretty cool. He's also the first player to hit 40 home runs in both leagues. So there's a little bit of trivia for you guys. He also is the oldest batter at the age of 41 on his birthday to hit a home run on his birthday. So at 41 on his birthday, he hit a home run, and that's the oldest in Major League history. So to beat him, you got to do it on your 42nd. So that's pretty cool. So like I said, you find some really cool trivia on Baseball Reference. I love looking it up. And here's his in-action card. And that's a pretty cool looking card too. So take a look at that. I love that. That is sharp with the fans in the background. Him jumping up. There's the back. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. And this series here, I had more really, really good players. I had really long careers, so it took a little bit more work to get all the cards written up and all that, but it was a lot of fun, though. And so we'll go to card number 173 here in a second. There it is. So now some of these players had, they had decent careers. The next one is Clay Kirby with San Diego. And he played 8 years in the majors, mostly with the Padres when they first started, and show the back. And I didn't write it down, but I will talk about it. So he pitched 8 years in the majors. He had a 75 and 104 lifetime record. In 1971, he had a really good year. He was 15 and 13 with 231 strikeouts for San Diego. The Padres that year lost 100 games. So pretty awesome. Also, and I don't remember the year, but he had an 8-inning no-hitter going for San Diego. And I don't remember 71 in that time frame. And Preston Gomez, who was the manager, took him out because they were down either 1-0 or 2-1. And of course, the relief pitch came in the ninth inning and gave up a hit and all that. So San Diego went a long time without a no-hitter. And it's just one of them controversial things that managers do. You're down, and the pitcher's spot comes up in the lineup, and you pinch hit for him. So you have that kind of an issue back in those days. So there's his in-action card. So here's the back. That's pretty cool. So that's Clay Kirby. And we come to Tom Haller, number 175, here with the Tigers. So there's Tom Haller. His brother, Bill, was an American League umpire. And I remember, now I have that written down in here. And they actually, Tom was behind the plate catching one day, I think it was 1974, 75. And Bill was the plate umpire. And I remember they did it against the Orioles at one point, too. And Earl Weaver complained about it and made somewhat of a big deal because here you got the brothers and all that. That wasn't on Baseball Reference, but I do remember that happening because I remember reading about it in the paper and all that. But here's the back of Bill's card, and we'll talk about him. Also, so he played 12 years in the majors. He was a 3-time All-Star. In 1966, he hit a career high of 27 home runs. In Game 4 of the 62 World Series, he hit his only World Series home run. That was with the Giants, so that's pretty cool. And what these guys, get a chance playing the World Series, they hit a home run, that type of thing. Maybe it puts the team ahead, it helps them. It's pretty interesting, and it's got to be like a highlight of their career. I think it's pretty cool. And yeah, Tom was catching, I'll tell you the year right here, July 14th, 1972, Tom was catching, and his brother Bill was the plate umpire. That's the first time that's ever happened in Major League history, and I don't think it's happened probably since. So that's pretty awesome. And here's his in-action card. Get that out. There that is. And on the back it has the leading pitcher's ERA in the American League. So that's pretty cool. So, okay. So the next player is Paul Schaal. I hope I'm saying that right. Here with Kansas City. Love those Kansas City Royals uniforms in those days. That blue is pretty awesome. Here's the back. So Paul, let's see. He got his first Major League hit off Robin Roberts, Hall of Famer Robin Roberts, on September 4th, 1964. He hit the last grand slam in Kansas City's Municipal Stadium in their 49-year history. He hit the last grand slam in that ballpark on June 4th, 1972. So, and then we have his in-action card. We'll show that here in a second. Got him in the fielding pose at third base. That's pretty cool. And we'll show the back. And that's pretty awesome. So, yeah. Okay. Card number 179 is Doc Ellis. Another controversial history type guy. And again, I won't go into all the details of how his career went. But if you want to know, you know where to go. And you can take a look at Mr. Ellis. We know ball players are not perfect. They have issues just like the rest of us. Doc Ellis, I got his in-action card here. We'll show that in a few minutes. 1971, Doc Ellis faced Vida Blue in the All-Star game. It was the first time two African Americans started the Mid-Season Classic. Pretty awesome stuff there. He gave up Reggie Jackson's towering home run in that game, and I bet you can find that on YouTube. He hit the light tower, if I remember right, because that game was played in Detroit. And up above, it would have been right field, if I think right. He hit the tower. It kept the ball from going out of the ballpark, because that ball was a moonshot. He was 138 and 119 lifetime. And here's Doc's. There's his in action. And then they talk about special cards in the next two series. So, because we're in Series 2 here right now. Here's Ed Kranepool. Would he be considered Mr. Met since he played his whole career in New York with the Mets? Also played with the 69 World Series champions. And just had a fantastic career. Really good ball player. Didn't play full-time all the time, but a very good player nonetheless. 18 seasons with the New York Mets, every one of them. That's pretty cool. Of course, he was on the 69 World Series champions. It says he was the first player to have a multi-home run game against the Expos. So that's pretty cool. And it's amazing some of the fun trivia you can find on Baseball Reference. I love it. In 1974, he hit 486 as a pinch hitter, the highest ever for a player with over 30 at-bats in a season. So pretty impressive. 486. That's pretty cool. And here's his in-action card here. Oh. Okay, and the next player is Bill Melton. Now, a lot of you guys probably don't remember Bill Melton, but Bill Melton led the American League in home runs in 1971 with 33 with the White Sox. And I got it written down. He had back-to-back seasons, as a matter of fact, with 33 home runs. And he's a very good ball player. He had some back issues. It curtailed his career. He just recently passed also, I think in December of last year. Just a really great player for the White Sox. He played for, I think, a couple other teams toward the end of his career. But I'd like to find a Bill Melton autograph. And I'm looking for one because I would like to have one. Because I remember him being a really good ball player. And I got it written down over here. So we'll talk about Bill Melton here in a minute. And he's got it in action too. In 1970, he became the first White Sox player ever to hit 30 home runs in a season. And the White Sox have been around since the American League formed. They're around that 1901 mark, give or take. I think they actually started, I think they're one of the original 8. I would have to double check that, but they've been around a long time. Of course, Comiskey Park, if I remember correctly, opened in 1910. Okay, so think about that. We're up to 1970 before a White Sox player hit 30 home runs. That's a long time. He was the first White Sox player to lead the American League in home runs, and that happened in 1971. And he was the 6th White Sox player of all time to hit 3 home runs in a game. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to be on eBay looking for an autograph of Bill Melton. That would be cool. I don't care if it's certified or not. I'd just like to have one. It won't be that expensive, but I'd like to add a Bill Melton autograph. And here is the back of Mr. Melton's card. So I thought that was cool. Okay, we got a couple more here. 2 exactly. So, number 185 is Ron Bryant. Ron Bryant pitched for the Giants. Here he is here. And there we go. So we'll talk about him here. I know he won 24. He won 24 and 12. In 1973, he finished 3rd in the Cy Young voting. I think Tom Seaver was first. He won the award. Mike Marshall of the Dodgers finished 2nd. And then Ron Bryant finished 3rd. It was the most victories for a Giants left-hander since Carl Hubble won 26 games in 1936. Awesome. Pitched 8 years in the majors, mostly with the Giants. And here is, and as I pulled these cards out, I need to replace this one. As you can see, I'm missing the tip. So I will have to get one. I'll be on eBay and find one. I got to write myself a note to pick up this card. So, and the last player for today That's card number 187, Gates Brown. Here with the Tigers, he played his whole career with them. He was a regular 1 year. He was one of the extraordinary pinch hitters of his time. So Gates Brown, that's a pretty cool looking card, and we'll talk about him. Also, he holds the American League record for the most career pinch hits with 106 and home runs with 16. You can check that on a couple of different websites. You can find that information. 13 years in the majors, all with the Tigers. In his only year as a regular, he hit .272 with 22 doubles and 15 home runs in 123 games in left field for the 1964 Tigers. So there it is. There's the last card I wrote up. That finishes up. We are up to card 187. I hope everybody enjoyed this today. This was a lot of fun because it took me some time over the last couple of days to write up this information. I think we're done now with part 11. Next week, we'll start part number 12. We'll get that written up through the week, and we'll get that video out to you next Sunday morning. I certainly hope everybody enjoyed this. This has been a lot of fun. We're going to go through, we got 600 more cards to go through. And I'll do like, I don't know, 15 or 20. So it's going to take some time, obviously. But we've got time. I hope everybody enjoys it. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to leave a comment, that would be great. And I'll tell you what, we'll see you guys later on this week. I got a couple of things I'm going to show. I'm hoping to get my display cases up here this afternoon. And I'm going to start putting some cards in them. So we'll show that video. We'll show it this week if we get them up and all that. So anyway, have a great Sunday. Take care, and we'll talk again real soon. Bye-bye.